in my plant.
Okay, but I'm going to start a recording now that I've vented. Gracias. Now that I have vented, and yesterday was an entire thing of cleaning up after the ant ordeal. So yeah, that was fun.
Could have been rats.
I
have a friend that has rat problems. So.
I am fearful to think of how it could have been worse, but yes, it could have been worse. Yes, we could have lost all the food in our refrigerator.
There we go.
Had the electricity been off for more than 6 hours. Normally, our electricity goes out 1 hour, hour and a half, but wow, 6 hours, that was kind of long.
That's a long time.
That was kind of long, but the storm also lasted for a very long time. So
it was a bad storm Monday night?
For us, it was a windstorm and no rain, but I do know other people got rain.
Did you have a dust storm? Is that what you had?
We had dust. We had 40, 50 mile an hour winds.
I saw that.
We had birds that were clinging. I had birds clinging for dear life to our outside screens. They didn't know where to go.
Wow.
I thought they had broken wings, but no. Okay, eventually. I think all the wildlife was freaking out. It was freak out time from the winds because it was 2 hours, 2.5 hours of sustained wind, which just, storms come in, they blow out. This was weird. Okay. Vamos a practicar. Yeah, let me get off of my rant. Okay. Bien. Let's do some practice. And I know we have some people who are out for various things, but let's take a look. Vamos a ver. Let's pull up this little fun drill here. I know I kind of feel like I dumped all this on you guys last week, but the fact is they've got all these different past tenses and you're going to hear them. Mm-hmm. You're going to hear them.
Yeah.
But you also have heard alguna vez, sometime. So we're going to pair up our alguna vez with our present perfect. And this is the way people phrase that idea of, literally it means at some time, alguna vez, in a question. At some time, have you done this? But in English, the way we always phrase this question is going to be, have you ever? Have you ever? Have you ever water skied? Have you ever replaced your roof? Have you ever? Visited New York? Have you ever done something? Okay. And while the present perfect is not used super commonly, not as commonly as it is in Spain to talk about recent past, you do hear people use it. It is used, and this would be one of the typical ways that people will use it. So we're going to take a quick review of what little structure we use. And actually, in a certain sense, this is a very easy past tense to use because all you conjugate is this one little verb, haber, right? And the other part is a past participle. So this present perfect talks about recent past or something in the past that connects to the present. That's kind of, I don't like that explanation, but it is true. Present perfect combines two little verb forms, a helping verb, which is a form of haber, and what we call a past participle. And it is used in Spain a lot to talk about recent past, but it's used in other parts of the world to talk about a past event that might have some relationship to what's happening right now in the present. That's the way it's always explained. I've probably heard 8 or 9 explanations. It was never explained to me that way initially, but that is kind of true. So the only thing you have to conjugate is haber. And that conjugates to has, hemos, habéis, and han. And the verb we pair up to use with it is what we call a past participle. In English, that's something that typically ends in an ed, but the second verb, which actually tells you the activity, the action, doesn't have the multiple conjugations that haber does, okay? It just takes the ado, AR verb form, or the ido for the ER and IR verb form. So, he hablado, he comido, he vivido, he comprado, he entendido, he asistido, he viajado, he leído, he ido. I have gone, right? So this is the equivalent of I have spoken, I have eaten, I have lived, I have bought, I have understood, I have attended, I have traveled, I have read, I have gone. Yeah, gone isn't goad, because we can't say goad. And so the only complication is that there are irregular past participles, and they wind up being fairly common verbs that we happen to use a lot. So some verbs and irregular past participles are irregular because instead of using ado or ido, they have a special word to be that past participle. And the past participle doesn't use an ADO or an IDO. So we get things like visto, yeah, dicho, abierto, hecho. This is, ¿qué has hecho? What have you done? Yeah, could be what have you made as well. Vuelto, escrito, roto, puesto, y muerto. Okay, so English really does about as many very, very weird irregular past participles, because look, we don't say braked, we say broken. Yeah, we don't say we don't say seed, we say said. We don't say said, we say said. So yeah, we got as many. We're as guilty as everybody else of having odd things for these. But these are kind of typical questions, and I don't think we're going to go into little breakout rooms since we're a small group. We're just going to take a look at these. Ooh, let me just double check and make sure nobody had difficulty getting in. I'm going to check email real quickly here, just to make sure I don't have anybody in distress that can't get in trying to email me. No. Okay, yeah, we're good.
Marilyn, when you, if you were to answer these questions, and this is for a recent past, and if it was like 10 years ago, would you revert back then to imperfect or preterite?
Oh, if I were to ask these questions without the alguna vez?
Yeah, without the, I see. With the alguna vez, that allows you.
The alguna vez here is what makes a difference. Now, so I'm going to tell you, if you said in Spain, I'm going to give you an example without the alguna vez.
Okay.
Spaniards like to use this a lot, whereas Mexicans, to talk about recent past, kind of indifferent. They won't. Mexicans will kind of automatically, and really much of Latin America, I should say, many Latin American Spanish speakers will tend to just, even if it's recent past, to naturally flip into preterito if it's an event, or imperfecto if they're doing a description.
Okay.
Those two, okay? But this present perfect is a real fave with Spaniards. So let me look at something less momentous here. I got to find, okay. Number 7. If we just asked this question, número 7, if we only ask this question as, ¿has tomado el metro? This would be a very common way in Spain. ¿Has tomado el metro? Did you take the subway? And they would, what the implied meaning would be was, did you do it this morning? Did you do it in the last 3 hours? Did you do it? Okay, it would be talking about something not very long ago.
Okay.
So somebody probably in Spain would not say, ¿has tomado el metro? Implying, talking about like yesterday or last week. But the implication would be very recently. Okay. And often within the in some time period connected to where we are now. So looking at this time, it would probably mean during the morning. Yeah. And this is a real, it is used very, very freely in Spain that way. Whereas Latin American speakers would tend to just say, tomaste el metro, did you take? And flip right into preterite, because if you got on the subway and you got off, it's kind of, well, it's an event, right? This isn't a real descriptive thing. You use the subway to get here. Tomaste el metro would be the more natural thing for somebody to say. People who speak the Latin American varieties of Spanish all totally understand has tomado el metro. Totally understand it. They just would tend to say, I'll use preterito to say this idea. So they know why that's used, but they flip into a different kind of tense, more so than this, okay? And in Latin American Spanish, this is reserved more for something that happened in the past, but is connected to where we are now in the future. I know that's not a very satisfactory thing, but with this idea, alguna vez, have you ever, well, it's that same thing that we do in English. Did you ever do this? Have you ever had that experience at some time? So that's why we have the alguna vez.
Okay, I got it.
So if you're speaking with Latin Americans, this will be a very natural way to use, and everybody would get that. So, okay. Por ejemplo, ¿alguna vez has pasado por un huracán? Have you ever lived through a hurricane?
No, nunca.
No, eso sí, nunca, no.
Nunca.
No he pasado por un huracán. En mi familia, mis suegros han pasado por un huracán. Alguna vez mis suegros han pasado por un huracán. Mis cuñados y su familia han pasado por un huracán. No he pasado por un huracán. Así. Okay? Bien? So this is just designed to give you a feel for how we would use this, okay? ¿Alguna vez has visto un tornado?
No, no he visto un tornado en mi pueblo, pero paso cerca de mi casa.
Okay.
What happened to your
Bien.
house?
Sí, pero pasó cerca de mi casa. It passed near my house.
Okay.
Pasó. It passed. And you would not need, Diana, to say, el tornado pasó cerca de mi casa. You wouldn't need to name el tornado. If you just said pasó por cerca de mi casa, everybody would know you meant it passed, right? When it is a subject of a sentence, it passed, we never say the word it. Never.
Okay.
We just use the verb. It's understood. Okay. You know, think about that. See, está cerca de mi casa. It's near my house. You're talking about some building or somebody, right? Está cerca de mi casa. You're talking about trees. Oh, está cerca de mi casa. It's near my house. Okay. We never say the word it. We just use the verb. That's all we do in Spanish. Okay. When it is a subject, when it receives action, we need to translate that word it. But if it is doing something, we don't translate the word it. Okay. A
Can
ver.
I go back to numero uno
Sí.
and just see, I wrote this sentence, mi esposo y yo hemos pasado los vientos en un avión.
Oh, we've gone through hurricane winds?
Sí.
Okay. Hemos pasado por los vientos de un huracán.
De un huracán en un avión.
En una, wow.
Sí,
¿Dónde? Cerca de la Florida. Oh, God, turbulencia. Hemos
muy.
pasado por turbulencia muy fuerte.
Sí.
Okay. Lo mejor, the best way to really talk about that. Hemos pasado por turbulencia muy fuerte por causa del huracán, por causa de un huracán.
Okay. Por
causa de, on account of a hurricane. And everybody would know it was the winds from the hurricane. Sí. Así se dice. That's probably the way you would hear somebody actually talk about that. Buena pregunta. Muy buena pregunta. Bueno, vamos a ver aquí. Sí, a la tercera pregunta. ¿Alguna vez has probado comida tailandesa?
He comido comida tailandesa.
Okay, he probado, I have tried, I have tasted. He probado.
Okay.
Comida. That comida is not like probado. That comida is a noun. Yeah. Comida tailandesa means Thai food. Thai food.
He probado comida tailandesa and me gusta mucho.
Te gustó mucho. He probado comida tailandesa cuando vivía en Chicago, pero no me gustó. No sé por qué, pero no me gustó mucho. Quizás no fue comida muy buena, comida tailandesa muy buena, no sé. Pero, okay, bien.
So just what she was saying, he comido comida. You would not say that.
No.
You could. Sí. He probado, you can see why I use probado. He probado comida tailandesa. I have tried. I have tasted. I have tried Thai food. See? Es posible decir he comido comida tailandesa, but it sounds a little repetitive, doesn't it?
It does. I thought that's how you said it. But no,
Sí,
it makes sense.
he probado. It means you put it on your tongue and you tasted it. Tried it out. Okay. Bien.
Okay.
Bueno, aquí. ¿Alguna vez has montado a caballo?
Sí, Cuando joven estaba, sí, cuando estaba joven, he montado mucho en Colorado.
Ah, bien. Cuando eras joven, when you were young, cuando eras joven. Okay. And notice, I could also even say this. I could look at that, has montado, and I could say you had ridden. Right? And now I'm putting it way far in the past. And what I can do, not meaning to blow your mind, but it is fairly common to say, habías montado a caballo, habías, taking haber and put it in an imperfecto makes it not present perfect, but past perfect.
man.
Oh, how mind-blowing is that? But here's what happens. These compound tenses have a relation to when in the past. So, has montado, alguna vez has montado means, have you ever ridden? Right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
But if your intention is to say, oh, when I was very young, you could either say, I had ridden, not have ridden, but had ridden. Cuando era joven, había montado. Or you could just choose to say, I'm going to go straight into imperfecto because I did it a bunch of times. Cuando era joven, montaba a caballo. Right? You have a choice. But había montado puts it further into the past. That's its job. When you say had ridden, you're putting it prior to something else in the past, but that's for another day, right? That's the job that not present perfect, he montado, but the past perfect, había montado. It takes that activity and it shoots it the farthest back we can go into the past. So quite often what winds up happening is that which you don't really need to be able to use yet, but you will hear people using that quite freely. And in Latin America, the past perfect, había montado, is fairly frequent. Is used quite a lot because it pushes the action way back. Okay. And often it's when you're kind of putting two activities, there's a juxtaposition, but one thing happened in the past, but something else happened even before that, way further back. And they'll use that había montado to shove it way into the earliest occurrence you could have. Okay, so just keep in mind, you may hear that. Okay.
So a question on that one. I put that this is an event that happened like 10 years ago. Is that not far? That's not way. That's like not when I was young. It was I montado a caballo en las playas de South Africa.
Sí.
So,
He montado.
so that was.
But
you wouldn't.
okay, so here's the difference, Mariana. He montado. I just asked you, have you ever and where? Okay.
Yeah.
Sí, he montado a caballo en las playas de Sudáfrica. Perfecto. Muy bien. Muy bien.
Okay. Okay.
Por otro ejemplo, he montado a caballo en Colorado. También he montado a caballo aquí en Arizona. Aquí en Arizona. Okay. Bien. If you took that question, have you ever, and let's say you only did that horseback riding one time, it was on a special trip in South Africa, and you never did it again. You
Yeah.
never did it again. You did it that one time. You could choose, because I phrase it as alguna vez has montado, you could choose to say, he montado a caballo en Sudáfrica, or you could, or you could, or, you know, una vez en Sudáfrica, you could specify with una vez, one time. Or you
Okay.
could choose to flip it into preterito because you only
Okay.
did it.
Use one.
One
You have a
time.
choice. Yes, you do.
Okay.
Because,
Even when you use alguna vez.
yeah.
Even when
So,
you- okay.
right. So
That's a,
let's say you're responding and you say, oh, okay, your situation is very different from Pat's.
right.
What Pat means is, oh, I used to ride when I was a kid.
Right.
Meaning I did it a lot, often, a few times. I don't know how many, a bunch of times. Cuando era joven, montaba a caballo or había montado a caballo. Either one is okay. All right. But if what you're saying when you come back, have you ever, what you want to communicate is, you know, I only did that once. You've got a choice. He montado una vez a caballo, he
Okay.
montado a caballo una vez, o monté a caballo una vez. You do have
Okay.
a choice of flipping it right into preterito because it was only one lonely time and you never got
Right,
on a horse
right.
again. So you see, people, by choosing the speaker, by choosing a tense, can choose to communicate that idea of, I did it a lot. I have done it one time. I did it just that one time, and slam it into preterito. You have a choice. And
Oh,
people
boy.
very naturally, and we do that choice. You might do the same choice seamlessly without thinking. Oh yeah, I've ridden, but it was just one time. And you'll say that
Yeah.
in English. I rode once.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I used to ride a lot. We do that and we don't even think about that English process. But in Spanish, you do kind of have to go through the mental gymnastics of, well, which tense am I going to choose? And the tense you choose is very much dependent on the idea you personally want to communicate. Okay? Yeah.
Okay.
Now,
Wow.
somebody is not going to wildly misinterpret you if you just say the only tense I can come up with in my brain is monte a caballo. That's the only one I can come up with. Are they going to wildly misinterpret what you said? No, they're going to know it's over and done. Yeah, right.
Okay.
So it's not like it's a brain buster that somebody can't get the gist of what you're saying. No, but you can be very specific and really kind of at where you guys are right now. You're listening for what the speaker chooses to tell you. The speaker, who is the native speaker, will very naturally choose he montado, monté, había montado, montaba, estaba montando. They're going to choose from all those possibilities to paint a picture in your head of what they mean. And when they're picking something that's continuous action, you know it's got to be a used to do this, a one time. And, you know, alguna vez is just plugging in that have you ever idea so that you get some experience with this present perfect. Okay. See?
Yeah.
I hope that helps.
Yeah.
Oh, that did help. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was almost my original question, I think.
So, you know, the difficulty is we study these tenses, but it's intimidating in some ways to study these tenses. But as what you are doing a lot is listening to people speaking in stories, and they're going to just naturally pick a tense that paints that story, that like creates a video of the storytelling, and they choose a tense based on whether they're telling you it happened, like timeline. Yeah, one after the other. So as a listener, you need to know these tenses because a native speaker is going to very freely choose from all these different tenses they have available to give you a static sense of time, done and over with, throw that in the box in the back seat, or they're going to be being more colorful and more descriptive, or they're going to tell you, here's what used to happen when I was a little kid a lot. They're going to choose from all these tools in their language toolbox. Okay, bien. Okay. Vamos a ver. Okay. 5. ¿Alguna vez, have you ever, alguna vez has conocido, have you ever met? Oh, now, conocer in the past, well, no, I'm more precise. Conocer when it's an event, yeah. Conocía means new, right? Conocía a mucha gente en la reunión. I knew a lot of people at the party. I already knew them. I wasn't meeting them for the first time, yeah? This is saying met first time, okay? ¿Alguna vez has conocido a alguna persona famosa? Have you ever met a famous person?
Based on what we've been talking about then, I could say, conocí a David McCallum en
Oh,
Jamaica cuando estaba nadando.
wow. Qué interesante. Wow.
Pero, since there are only females here, it's because there were big waves and I lost the top of my bathing suit.
Ay, a ver.
He said,
Wow.
"Pero."
Oh, David McCallum era muy guapo. Era como sí, un actor guapísimo de Man from U.N.C.L.E., ¿no?
Ah,
He was
y-
back in the 70s. It
Y
was
también,
in the
wow,
70s.
wow. Ay, qué historia.
Good Diane.
Tu historia es mejor que la mía. Your story is way better than mine. Okay. Has conocido a alguien famoso. Okay. Bien.
So
Okay.
you can't throw it into just past tense. I met that person.
You can throw it flat out into, because you never saw him again.
Nope.
Sí. Okay. Bien. Sí. Eso es. Okay. A ver, bueno, alguien más. ¿Has conocido a alguien famoso? ¿A alguna persona famosa?
había conocido Barry Goldwater
Ooh.
cuando tenía 5 años.
¡Wow! También alguien muy famoso. ¡Wow!
Not as exciting as Diane's.
Diane is. She's walking on the
That was
wild
great.
side, that girl.
Sí, Barry Goldwater no era un personaje de interés romántico, no. David McCallum, sí. Ok, sí, bien. Pero muy famoso, muy importante, una persona muy importante aquí en Arizona, en todos los Estados Unidos, muy importante. Bien, bueno, Mariana, ¿tienes alguien?
I put down, tiendo una vida abrida.
I missed something there.
Okay. Tiendo una vida abrida. I have a boring life.
Oh, okay. And okay.
So I say no. No,
No,
nunca.
ok, bien. Bueno, tengo una historia. Ok, vamos a practicar. Ustedes van a practicar con una historia un poquito más, sí, una historia un poquito más larga, ¿sí? Tengo una historia de alguien famoso. Alguien, somebody, alguien famosa, alguna persona, una persona famosa. Ok, sí he conocido a alguien famoso. Una vez conocí a Tony Randall de Odd Couple, ¿sí? Tony Randall de muchas películas. Ok, una vez, fui de vacaciones a Nueva York, ¿sí? Y durante mis vacaciones en Nueva York, fui a MoMA, el Museo de Arte Moderna, sí, el Museo de Arte Moderna en Nueva York. Es un museo muy famoso, es un museo enorme y bueno, en el museo, claro, había muchas pinturas famosas y de repente, sí, yo miraba todas las pinturas famosas y de repente, all of a sudden, de repente, sí, giré a la derecha y vi a Tony Randall. Tony Randall. Y bueno, quería acercarme. I wanted to.
Walk.
Sí, acercarme es draw near to, walk up to. Okay. Quería acercarme a Tony Randall, pero yo era un poquito tímida, ¿sí? Bueno, ¿puedo pedir su autógrafo? ¿Debo hacerlo? ¿Debo no hacerlo? No sé. Pero había dos niñas de 5 años, 6 o 7 años, dos niñas muy bonitas. Y las dos niñas sí acercaron a Tony Randall y le pidieron su autógrafo. Las niñas le pidieron el autógrafo de Tony Randall. Muy preciosas niñas. Pero yo podía oír la conversación entre Tony Randall y las niñas y Tony Randall les dijo a las niñas, bueno, chicas, no firmo, no firmo autógrafos normalmente. No firmo autógrafos en un lugar público. En un lugar público, cuando estoy aquí en mi tiempo libre, cuando no estoy trabajando como actor, no firmo autógrafos. Así que yo no les voy a dar, yo no les voy a dar mi autógrafo, pero sí puedo llevarlas, I can take you. Sí puedo llevarlas por un recorrido de todo de todo el cuarto. Voy a llevarlas. I'm going to take you, gals. Voy a llevarlas y voy a contarles. I'm going to tell you guys. Voy a contarles las historias de cada pintura aquí en este cuarto, porque hay una historia muy interesante del artista, del lugar, de cada pintura en este cuarto. Y yo voy a ser el guía. Voy a ser su guía de la historia de cada pintura en este cuarto. ¿Sí?
Oh,
Sí,
No firmo autógrafos,
firme.
pero voy a pasar un rato con ustedes, ¿sí? Contándoles, telling you guys, contándoles las historias de las pinturas. Qué interesante, qué hombre muy, muy, muy simpático, muy amable, ¿no?
sí.
Ok.
Oh,
¿Entendieron ustedes? Did you understand? ¿Entendieron ustedes?
Sí,
Sí.
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 Aunque no firmó, sí hizo algo muy, muy, muy amable. Qué hombre más amable. What a nice guy. Ok. Aquí, número 6. ¿Alguna vez has viajado a Rusia?
Nunca,
no, nunca.
nunca.
Nunca, nunca.
Nunca.
Pero,
Nunca.
pero he viajado a los 7 continentes.
A los 7 continentes.
Sí,
¡Wow! Oh, sí, Sudáfrica y Asia y Europa y Sudamérica también.
Sudamérica,
Antártica.
Sí.
¡Wow! Antártica. Bueno, ¿cuándo fuiste a Antártica? Dime.
¿Cuándo?
¿Cuándo? Sí. ¿En qué
January.
mes? En enero. Oh, en enero. Pero enero es el verano. En
Es
Antártica.
verano, sí, sí.
Entiendo. ¡Wow! Qué interesante.
Muy bueno, muy bueno.
Bueno, en el Antártico es posible. No hay ciudades, hay un pueblo o es solo unos edificios aislados. Are they just isolated buildings? Or?
Yes, see, we've traveled obviously on a boat, and
Wow.
you go around. I'm sorry, I can't speak in Spanish.
Okay,
you go
entonces
around and
viajabas por barco. You were traveling on a boat.
sí.
Okay.
It was muy bueno, muy bueno.
Hiciste una parada. You made a stop. Hiciste una parada en el puerto.
Muchos stops.
Okay.
And
Muchas paradas.
Yeah, sí.
En la costa.
Sí. Por 7 días.
Por 7 días. ¡Wow! ¡Qué interesante!
Uh-huh.
¡Qué interesante! Ok. No he viajado a Rusia. He viajado a Suecia. Suecia y Sweden es lo más cerca, pero Rusia no. Ok. ¿Alguna vez has tomado el metro en alguna ciudad? ¿Alguna vez has tomado el metro en alguna ciudad? El metro es subway, ¿no?
Uh-huh.
Acabo de tomar el metro en Boston la semana pasada.
¿Y cómo es el metro de Boston, Diana?
¿Cómo?
¿Cómo
Bien.
es un metro limpio,
Sí,
eficiente?
limpio y muchos señales, muchos easy, very easy to do.
Signs.
Yes, easy.
Es fácil.
Fácil,
Es fácil de usar. Es fácil. Oh, es importante. Es fácil de usar el metro en Boston.
Sí,
Porque hay señales, there's signs, ¿sí?
sí.
Es fácil. Y es un metro
mapas,
y
muchos
mapas. Ok. Es un metro, el metro de Boston, es un metro bien limpio, pretty clean,
Pretty clean.
más o menos, ¿no?
Sí.
Ok. Excelente. Ok.
En Chicago tomo el metro mucho.
Sí. Cuando
Todos los días.
vivía en Chicago en los años 80, cuando vivía en Chicago, tomaba el metro mucho. Tomaba el metro para reuniones de mi trabajo, para ir para ir al estadio de los Cubs, ¿no?
Sí,
Para
sí,
ir a Wrigley Field, para ir de compras en Water Tower Place y otros lugares. Sí,
sí.
sí. Okay.
Cuando era niña, tomaba el metro todos los días. Cuando era niña.
Sí.
Todos los días, ya.
Tengo una sobrina, ella es estudiante en la Universidad de Chicago ahora, y ella toma el metro todo el tiempo para ir a la universidad, para ir de compras, para todo, para casi todo, ¿sí?
Para todo, ya.
Sí. Ok. Pat, ¿has tomado alguna vez has tomado el metro?
Sí, he tomado el metro en París. París.
En París.
Sí.
París.
En París. Sí.
No es fácil.
Sí, tengo un comentario. Sí, tomé el metro una vez en París y fue un metro bastante sucio. Sí, quizás.
Muy sucio.
Muy sucio, sí. He tomado el metro en Nueva York, en París, en Madrid, en Barcelona, en Stockholm, en Londres. Claro, sí, en Chicago. Y quizás eso es todo. O no, eso es todo, sí. Y a veces, no, en Washington, D.C. también hay un tren.
Sí.
Entonces, no sé exactamente si es un metro o si es un tren, pero sí.
Yes.
Y me gustan los metros. I really like subway, por lo general. En París no tanto, pero ok. Bueno, alguna vez, momentito. ¿Alguna vez has vivido en otro estado? Have you ever lived in another state?
He vivido en Colorado y Oklahoma.
Bien. Ok. Oklahoma también. ¿En una ciudad de Oklahoma o en un rancho en Oklahoma?
En Oklahoma city, la ciudad de Oklahoma.
La ciudad de
La
Oklahoma.
ciudad de Oklahoma.
Ok. Bien.
Viví en Ohio por 1 año.
Ah,
Mm.
solamente un año. Ok. No es mucho tiempo.
No.
Ah,
Vivido en Michigan, Illinois y Arizona.
exacto. Sí, es mi experiencia también. Sí. He vivido en Michigan y Chicago y a las afueras de Chicago y también aquí en Arizona. Eso es todo. Sí. Visité a muchas ciudades, pero he vivido en 3 estados específicos. Ok, aquí algo de las personas que a quienes les gusta la aventura, people who like adventure. ¿Alguna vez has practicado el paracaidismo? Paracaidismo. Have you ever tried skydiving?
Nunca. Nunca.
Nunca.
Nunca.
No he
No
practicado.
pleno, no pleno.
No he practicado el paracaidismo tampoco. Tampoco yo. Pero un buen amigo mío sí ha practicado paracaidismo. Él fue una vez en un avión, sí, subió en avión pero tenía que firmar la vida. Wow, he had to sign away his life, sí. Antes de saltarse del avión, tenía que firmar documentos. Sí, me doy cuenta, me doy cuenta de que puedo morirme. Durante esta actividad, me doy cuenta de que es posible paralizarse permanentemente practicando este deporte. ¡Uy! ¡Qué locura! ¡Qué locura! Y es peligroso, sí. Ok. Y por fin, aquí, ¿alguna vez has roto algo muy costoso? Have you ever broken something really expensive?
He roto un collar muy viejo.
Oh, ok, algo de mucho valor, something very expensive, sí, muy costoso. Ok. La única cosa que he roto sería como una copa de cristal, una copa de vino de cristal muy costoso,
Yo también.
como de Waterford o alguna marca allá,
Yo
¿sí?
también.
Sí. Otra cosa. Un carro, pero sin querer. Sin querer, bueno, es una frase interesante. If you broke something without meaning to, like you did it, but you didn't intend it, people frequently use the phrase sin querer, without wanting to. Por ejemplo, he roto los frenos de un Jeep. I broke the brakes of a Jeep. He roto los frenos de un Jeep, pero sin querer, but not on purpose. Yeah, sin querer es como not on purpose. Sin querer means without wanting to. Sí, bien. Okay. Ok. ¿Algo más con has roto o?
No,
¿no?
he roto una cosa
Ok.
muy costoso.
Bien. Ok. Ok, bien. Bueno, entonces, so let's flip gears a little bit. Ooh, no call from the plumber yet. El plomero no me ha llamado. Todavía no me ha llamado. He still hasn't called me. Es buena cosa. Okay. All right. So, any questions about that perfect tense? These perfect tenses, what an odd grammatical phrase. We can take haber and put it in haber. It's what gets put in a tense, right? So, haber, just so para que sepan, just so that you know, to keep it kind of in a back pocket when you listen to some of these videos, because every once in a while somebody throws out one of these, and then I think, oh, they don't know that. I wonder how big a stumbling block that will be. These perfect tenses exist because haber can be taken and put into presente to talk about recent past, but something that's kind of connected to maybe the future in some way. We can put haber into the imperfect to throw it way back. We can put it into a bunch of subjunctives. We're not even going to go there, but it's just the thing you learned as a little kid, as a helping verb plus a participle. That's all it is. Okay. That's all it is. So when you hear people using it, plus when you're hearing it, you're going to hear a, as, you're not hearing that H. Yeah. When you're reading it, it's more of a giveaway because you see the H-E, H-A-S, H-E-M-O-S. When you're reading it, if it goes into the imperfecto, it's había, habías, había, habíamos, habían. You can read, but when you're listening for it, that H is silent.
Yeah.
So you're hearing, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's going to be tricky.
That is.
Para que sepan. It's going to be tricky when you're listening for it. You can't listen for an H because there's no sound.
I know. Yeah.
Okay. So when you read it, so
Easy.
it almost helps to read it in stories so that when you hear it, you can kind of anticipate. Or in that case, when you have some story videos, that's one of those situations where it's good to turn on the subtitles, because if you're lucky enough that it's like about 90% accurate, which usually it will be, usually worst case scenario is about 70% or 80% accurate, you'll actually see that structure, but you won't hear an H.
No.
So you got to be listening for those forms, and you kind of have to know ahead of time what they are. But they will creep in. But the way you know them is that you hear that participle. The participle you do hear as comido, entendido, pensado, thought, right? Manejado, driven, because we don't say drived, and you don't say have drove, have driven, yeah? Bebido, have drunk something, you were drinking a lot of stuff, okay? Trabajado, those are it'll be paired up with another verb. So that is what happens. Okay. Let's flip back a little bit into preterito and imperfecto. I want to do a little quick quiz. We're going to go back to the usual, which is preterito or imperfecto. Okay. So we're going to do some easy stuff and then hopefully a story. And I think we have enough time that will fit just comfortably. So I'm going to play this. We're going to see what you can get. This is pick a verb. What makes more sense? What makes more sense? That word de repente means suddenly. And, we're looking at haber, but it's not a helping verb. It is.
It's
what?
hubo.
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 ¿Por qué hubo? Why hubo? And why not había?
It's an event.
It's an event, right? This is the lesser used, honestly, the lesser used of the two, but for an event, accidente, boy, that's a big boom. And sí, hubo. Okay. Okay. Esta mañana wash my hair.
Lavé.
Lave, right? Because we're
Lavé.
putting it in a time frame of esta mañana, right?
Mhm.
Now, a Spaniard may say, me he lavado el pelo. If we're talking in the afternoon, he's talking about this morning, he could do that. But we're going back to just pretérito or imperfecto. Me lavé el pelo. I did that. Okay, vale. Frecuentemente, yo
Estaba.
estaba enfermo. ¿Por qué estaba?
I used to be sick.
It doesn't specify a time.
Frequently doesn't specify a time, and frequently means a bunch of times, but we don't know how many. Not 2 times, not once, but yeah. Okay. Cuando era niña, when I was a little girl,
Montaba.
montaba en triciclo. I rode a tricycle. El martes pasado fui al parque y
Corrí.
corrí 2 millas. Corrí 2 millas. Last Tuesday, I went to the park and I ran. There were 2 separate events, kind of a sequence, really, because you had to go to the park first and then you started running in the park, right? So we have 2. Not I went to the park and I was running, but I went to the park and I ran. It's kind of more like a sequence of events. Okay, a ver. Yo siempre jugué yo siempre jugaba con mi mejor amiga.
Jugaba.
Jugaba. ¿Por qué jugaba?
Yo siempre.
Used to do it.
Siempre means always. So we might say in English, I always played with my best friend, but you might say it as I always used to play. And if you can insert the idea of used to, jugaba is always. And that siempre word is a great big, flashing light clue, right? Because it means a bunch of times. But we don't know how often. A lot. Ayer.
Miré.
Mire, and I would never use mire. I would use be. I would use ver. There's always a debate. Is it proper to use mirar with a película or ver with película? Yo prefiero ver con películas. I would express this as ayer vi una película. Para mí es más natural expresar la idea con ayer vi una película, ver, but they used mire. Okay.
Would you, if you saw a bird, would you say, yesterday I saw a bird?
That would be mire. No. Pues, depende. I saw a bird would be vi un pájaro. But if what you meant was I was bird watching, that's different, isn't
That
it?
would be mire.
Yeah. Bird watching is an activity where it's not just I'm doing something else and boom. No, mirar is I sit down and look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Yeah. Mirar is more of a sustained. Yeah, bird watching is a more sustained, intensive kind of thing, right? It's not a fleeting, I saw this. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Buena pregunta. El lunes pasado yo hice o el lunes pasado yo hacía toda la tarea.
Hice.
Last Monday, I did all my homework. You're talking about a set time period, a particular day. cada domingo mi familia iba o cada domingo mi familia fue a la iglesia.
Iba.
Iba.
Iba. Cada domingo es each Sunday
Sunday.
or every Sunday. Es repetición, claro, ok. A ver, antes de la pandemia yo pasé tiempo con mis amigos o antes de la pandemia yo pasaba tiempo con mis amigos.
Pasaba.
Pasé.
Pasada. Pasé.
Pasaba, sí,
Pasaba.
I used to. Yeah, I used
I
to.
used to.
So, yeah, what you're probably, I mean, it could be passé if you were talking about one time, like you went on a trip or something, pero, depende. It really depends. So as you see there, somebody's going to pick the idea they want to convey to you about when that happened. Okay. Otro ejercicio. We're going to try a different one. This is going to be a little more involved. So we're not, we did a short one for warm up. Momentito. ¿Dónde está? Otra vez. No funciona. Ahora funciona. Imprimé un botón que no funcionaba. I hit a button that was not working. Ok. A ver. Aquí, estos ejemplos son más complicados porque tenemos que examinar el contexto. El contexto de la combinación de palabras. En su totalidad, ¿sí? Todo el contexto. Yo hablaba cuando ella entró. Yo hablaba cuando ella entró.
Sí.
It's going to mean one of these things.
Yeah.
I was talking
I
when she
was
came
talking
in.
when she came in.
Yeah, I was talking when she came in. Okay, so here is where somebody chooses because they're really setting the scene. Before she walked in, I was
Talking.
da, 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 da. Now she came in, and that is cuando, and it's when, and the when is an interruption. And entering, that happens fast, right? I was talking before she came in. I was still talking.
Yeah.
And I probably was still doing that, right? Yo hablaba cuando ella entró. Perfecto. It's the idea of background action and an interruption, which will have to be switching into pretérito. El plomero. No, no es el plomero. Okay, my plumber hasn't. I thought my plumber was texting. Okay, I did tell him it would be better if it came at noon. Él montaba a caballo cuando empezó a llover. Qué buen ejemplo. Él montaba a caballo cuando empezó a llover.
He was
riding his horse
Started to rain.
Yeah.
when it started to rain.
He was riding his horse. He was riding. We're painting. This is like a video. He was doing this for a long time. Okay. And now we've got an interruption. Cuando signals an interruption. Cuando empezó a llover, when it started to rain. And that started to rain is a specific event. It's an interruption. It happened and was over quickly. Okay. Exacto. Ellos salían cada noche y salieron anoche también.
And they went out. See,
They went out
Sí.
every night,
at night.
and they went out last night as well.
A, B, C, D. And some of them, they use some bogus verb that, it's like, oh, I can eliminate that. That's wrong. Es la letra A, B,
Sí.
C, o D.
Say.
C. They went out every night and they went out last night as well. Okay. Salieron anoche. We need to flip into pretérito because we're just talking about anoche, last night. So a lot of times we have a time cue, and they're pretty careful with these examples to do a time cue. A ver, nadábamos cuando Carlos llegó. Nadábamos cuando Carlos llegó.
B.
Babe.
B. We were swimming. Okay, now we've got an interruption. Cuando. And Carlos llegó. We put that into pretérito because he came in. He arrived. He got there. So we were swimming before. Here he comes in. Oh, we're still in the pool. And there we go. Okay. Aquí. Bien. Mientras, while. Mientras Alberto y Susana montaban su moto acuática, Susana que se cayó. Moto acuática would be like a jet ski. Yeah. Jet ski, moto acuática.
Ah,
Babe.
B.
Sí. Okay. While Alberto and Susana were riding their jet ski, Susana, yeah. And the se cayó, caerse mean, caerse indica en inglés to fall off. And fall off is not a very slow motion event. Yeah. Yeah. So, especially en a moto acuática, especialmente con una moto acuática. Entonces, sí, B, while they were riding, she fell off. And
In the last set, all of them followed the same pattern, but this one in A,
we had no cuando, did we?
right, but this one would be the imperfecto would be the while he was eating, and the preterite was Carlos's mother went to the store. This is a reverse from what they've been doing up to this time, correct?
Yeah. Well, so we don't have a signal word of cuando, but we've got a mientras, and mientras always means something is continually going on. While this was happening, suddenly, boom, she fell off. Okay.
Right.
And we don't have that word cuando, when, to tell us it's an interruption, but the action of caerse certainly is an interrupting action, because we don't generally say, wow, she was falling off, and it's like, boom. Right. Yeah, no, it happens, right? And that you could theoretically build a sentence with se caía. She was falling when her life passed before her eyes. I don't know. It could be something. Theoretically, it could, right? But normally when we talk about somebody that they fell or fell off, in this case, fell off, that's going to be a quick action. And it's got to be, even though we don't have a signal word of cuando, yeah, right. Because of the context.
Right.
Okay. Yo preparaba la canoa. Yo preparaba la canoa cuando mi sobrino se puso el chaleco salvavidas. Chaleco salvavidas. Salvavidas es life-saving. Chaleco es vest. Yo preparaba la canoa cuando mi sobrino se puso el chaleco salvavidas. Life vest, life jacket. I was getting the canoe ready when my nephew put on his life jacket. And the put on, we've got a cuando, first of all. So we know we've got an interrupter coming up, right? But se puso, put on. Yeah. Prepping the canoe takes a while, right? Or it took a while. You're putting supplies in the canoe, right? And he comes up and he puts on the jacket. And that's something that is more event oriented, right? You could, again, theoretically, you could say he was putting on his life jacket, but he put it on Wow, I was in the middle of getting everything ready. Okay. Aquí. Bien. El vendedor ambulante manejaba en la carretera cuando llegó a un atajo. Vendedor ambulante. Ambulante means, we have a word ambulance, but it has nothing to do with an emergency. Ambulante means walking around, yeah? And here it's a traveling salesman thing. Perdón. Una pausa. Here comes the
Sure,
plumber.
sure.
Hang on. Hello? Yes. 15 to 20 minutes is excellent. Thank you so much. We'll see you. Bye-bye. Oh, gosh, I had to really get into English mode. I was like, okay. Yeah. Va a llegar, mi plomero va a llegar. Ok, el vendedor ambulante manejaba en la carretera cuando llegó a un atajo. A traveling salesman, and it is a traveling salesman. That's what that means. He was driving along the road or down the highway, right? Actually, carretera, it wouldn't really be road. It would be highway. When he got to the shortcut. Okay. Yeah. He arrived at a shortcut. He came up to the shortcut. Estábamos trabajando mientras Juana jugaba.
Be.
We were working, and they use estar in imperfecto with an ando for continuous action, but in the past, right? Estábamos trabajando mientras Juana jugaba. I could have phrased that as trabajábamos mientras Juana jugaba. Same basic idea. Just phrases it a little differently. So either of those would be good ways to say that. Vale, bueno, mientras Marcos comía, su madre fue al mercado.
Say, Marcos.
While Marcos was eating, his mom went to the store. Yeah. Even though we don't have an interrupting word. Yeah. La mamá de Carlos fue al mercado mientras él comía.
Be.
Be. Okay. Almost the same thing. Yeah. Just they flipped the order. So they're showing you as you can flip the order. You have two little clauses, two little ideas. You can invert the order and come out the same. Siempre teníamos un examen los viernes.
Say.
Say.
We always had a test on Fridays, every Friday. This was the routine. So repetición, hábito, habit. Así. Cuando llegamos a la playa, María jugaba voleibol con unos amigos.
De.
When we arrived at the beach, and remember, llegamos is used for both for pretérito and presente, right? Cuando llegamos a la playa, when we got to the beach, when we arrived at the beach, María was playing volleyball. So she was doing that before we got there, and she still was. Okay. Tú navegabas en el velero cuando te vi.
Be.
Velero is a sailboat. Okay. A vela can be a candle, can be a sailboat. But velero is a sailboat. So you were steering that sailboat. See, cuando te vi, when I saw you. And yeah, ver is, an activity, and it happens pretty quickly. Okay. A ver. Número 14. Tú that's got a spelling error. That Z should be an S, guys. That should be an S. Descansabas. Somebody put a Z when they should have had an S. Tú descansabas bajo la sombrilla cuando empezamos a jugar.
De,
You were resting con S, no con Z, with an S, not a Z, under the umbrella.
Under.
Yeah, when we started to play. Cuando se puso el sol, estábamos todos en la cubierta del barco. Cubierta es deck. Cubierta del barco, the deck of the boat.
de, de,
When the sun set, we were all on the deck of the boat. Cuando mi familia se reunió el año pasado, casi todos vivíamos en la misma ciudad.
se,
When we got together, we were living in the same place. Pablo nos llevaba el chaleco salvavidas cuando se cayó del bote.
oh,
Es buena frase. This is a great sentence. Muy típico.
it's de, no,
Pablo wasn't wearing his life jacket when he fell out of the boat. Se cayó is a sudden thing. Se cayó. He fell off, right? But before he se cayó, before he fell off, he was not. Yeah.
Wearing.
So llevaba, wearing, was wearing before fell off, during the fall, after the fall. No llevaba el chaleco salvavidas. Okay, bien. That gives you a feel for why these things are what they are. Okay, yo hacía la tarea cuando me llamó Juan.
de.
I was doing my homework when Juan called me. Okay. So I was doing homework. Interruption cuando, and we've got them preterito, when he called me. And when he called me, just boom, happened. A ver, un ejemplo más. Mientras yo tocaba el piano, mi hermano lavaba los platos.
De.
While I was playing piano, my brother was washing the dishes. We've got a mientras and two activities, both going on in the same time period, both at the same time. One did not interrupt the other. They were both happening simultaneously. Okay. And therefore we keep, when you want to convey that idea, they were both happening at the same time. We need imperfecto for both of those. Fantástico. Okay. I was hoping we were going to get to our little video. I'm just going to show you what it looks like. I'm going to send this off for you to listen because it's a great little video. And it's going to mix a bunch of tenses. Okay, vale. This is a fun little video, and it asks, did you know that you carry a Viking rune in your pocket every day? And a rune, of course, is what is a rune? A rune is a form of writing that doesn't look like our alphabet, right? But it's writing that communicates an idea in an ancient language. And it's kind of a cute little story. And it's not too long, but it because my plumber is coming, we will not be able to watch this together. So you'll watch this and see how much you can pick up. Try listening once with no subtitles and once with the subtitles. She does have kind of a strong Buenos Aires accent. So you may hear a few zh, where normally would hear yeah. But, pero, es fácil de entender. It really is easy to understand. So you'll have one little storytelling video to watch for the week. See, bien?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to cut it just a couple minutes short so I can get my faucet fixed.
Good
I hope
luck
this
with
is-
that.
Oh,
Ay, que sí, necesito buena suerte. I need good luck. I have not had good luck this week. This has not been a good luck week for me. Pero
oh.
así es la vida. Such is life. Okay.
Okay.
Muy bien. Espero que tengan una
Thank you.
buena semana. Sí.
Gracias.
Gracias.
De nada,
Buena suerte.
Y hasta luego. Bueno, sí, gracias. Sí. La necesito. I need it.